Hello all. Thank you for joining our discussion. I'm Katja Zakrajšek, and today I have the pleasure of hosting Pooyesh Azizeddin and his assistant, Hannah. Pooyesh is a poet, activist, technology and human rights researcher. He's a member of the Slovenian Center PEN, of the NGO Surveillance Studies Network, and he also produces podcasts for the MIAN organization. He moved to Slovenia, 8 years ago now? First arriving via the ICON network of refuge cities with journalist and activist Shiva Nazarahari, who has already been a guest at Pritličje as part of last year's Grounded Festival. So, we'll be talking about the latest wave of protests in Iran, which have been reported as potentially the largest since the 1979 revolution, and possibly with the bloodiest repression as well. And we'll try to unpick both what has been going on in Iran and why, and Western reactions to this. But first, Pooyesh, I do hope that you have mentioned that it's still difficult to get in touch with people in Iran. I do hope that you can do so soon and reach whoever is most important to you in Iran. It must be very hard to not be able to reach them. So to start us off, can you talk about the economic and political reasons behind the protests and also the different groups of people involved in the protests within Iran?
First of all, I want to say thank you to invite me, and Dobar večer, everyone. Actually, yeah, we faced. Actually, I'm not a fan of dividing the uprising in Iran to the political or I don't know, cultural or economical, because that's that's give us a wrong address. 3 years before we stay here, we have been here, people ask us, especially leftists, ask us, did this women life freedom is a middle class protest, and they wanted to underestimate that protest to just one class, which wasn't. And this one also, yeah, of course, it has some economical root. We faced in last 10, 12 years, a lot of economical crisis, which has roots in sanction also, alongside many other things. So yeah, it's started by some economical reason. Then I can mention that I can see many many kind of people with many kind of background on this uprising, recent uprising. Sorry, my English is not good, so I apologize.
I don't think you have to apologize for
No, I know.
English. Maybe we'll just... Yeah, I don't think you have to apologize for English at all. But maybe we can just mention that what has been in media reports so far. So as in terms of groups of people who have been involved. So I've seen mentions of merchants in the bazaars. We've seen mentions of students. We've seen a variety of a wide variety of people, like you've been saying.
Yes, we observe many kind of people, but I mean, it seems a general desire for change this time, but I don't see an institutional movement, because we have like our army institute, we have bazaar institute. It's not just some person they come out. So this is a big problem, a huge problem. Also, opposition haven't had chance to rebuild some institute to bring up in such a situation. But in terms of the street, we can see many sort of people, they want change. And this is really surprising me when I see, even in a very small village, you can hear some very, I mean, not, I can't say progressive, but you can hear a political slogan instead of just economical or such a things. So, which is also very important for me. Yesterday, someone who actually live in Slovenia, some Iranian, he sent me one video from a very small village of west of Iran. In that small village with only 125 population, which is almost like Bladna Vista where I live, it's like 14 people die, and it's a huge number for such a small village. So yeah, we can see students and also middle class professional, which is also really surprising me. They were always quiet, be like in gray area. They didn't want to participate. They always just wanted to see what happened, then take another step. But this time, I see many of them, at least verbally, support this protest. Yeah.
So does it look different from do people in the streets in this wave of protest, are they different from, is this a different sort of group or different groups than we saw in the Women Life Freedom protests? A wider group, perhaps?
Yeah, I can say we can see more variation of people. But another big change is, I think we observe some frustration of people that lead the most of the people behind this monarchy leadership and slogans. And unfortunately, what I observe from far away, I can't say this is the right things, but I have a limitation to see around me because of this exile. But I can see many people accept the narration of presence of foreign army or so on because they are so hopeless. They say, yeah, we can accept that. And I am sure they don't have enough knowledge about the next step, but they are so frustrated about this step and they want to pass it as quick as they can.
I think we'll talk a bit more about this a bit later, but I also wanted to ask you about organized civil society in Iran, because I think this is one factor that we often forget about when discussing Iran within Europe. We sort of flatten it to Iran is the regime, but of course it's not just the regime.
Of course it's not. Yeah, we had this traditional of activism in Iran for more than 100 years. And we have had a very powerful civil society, which really became weak after the sanctions and all this economic crisis. Of course, because first, being activists in Iran is not like here. It's not like Slovenia make every year 7,000 events to support in somehow. I know it's not that much, but they support activists and writers in somehow. But in Iran, it's not a job. It's always the third job. You have two jobs for having money, and then you have the third one being activist, doing something. So if you don't have money, there is no room for other activity. And I can see with my eyes how became broken this strong civil society. But it wasn't just about the economy and sanction. It was also a big repression in last 12 years. I can say after 2009, after Green Movement, which was my biggest moment of my activist life. So after that, in every few years, we had some protests, and because of that protest, they arrest many of these activists. They forced them to leave the country, step by step. In 2009, many of people came out of the country. Then in 2017, some more, and then 2021. So I can say we have still that strong civil society and organized, because being activist in Iran easily became a, how to say, you've been targeted easily, and they define it as a, if you're activist, they say, yeah, you're working with Israel, you're working with West, you're like this, you're like that. They don't think you are leftist, you are liberal, or so on. They just want to be quiet about everything. So I am not sure the activists and civil society run this rally right now, but I am sure they are alongside them.
Now, given the internet blackouts and the telecommunications blackouts, what is the latest that you can tell us about the repression of these latest protests? So we've seen these blackouts to hinder organization within Iran and the flow of information outside of Iran. And despite that, we have heard of some things, and that was widespread use of live ammunition on protesters. There are reports of casualties that vary from 2,500 to 12,000 or potentially more, with many more wounded, obviously, many arrested. So what can we know at this point?
So I'm going through that a little bit with more time, because this is my expert. So this is one of the things Islamic Republic take advantage from the leftists around the world discourse about the fragmentation, have autonomy of the your internet and so on. So with this, they start to establish an intranet, something like we call internal internet network. So this is totally cut from the internet, and it is not quite finished, but they can use it already. So, but even though they cut that as well, so we don't have internet, we don't have intranet. Almost every communication tools are shut down, and they started from yesterday to give access to only some nodes and specific people. So they have no. So before that, we had like blacklist of censorship. So they had some IP to block, and now they have whitelisting. So everything is blocked, and they give to the system so only just a few whitelists to have access to the internet. And of course, that caused many rumors and numbers we hear about the killing and so on, which I can't confirm any of them. Just right now, we could confirm only 4,000, which is the government admit that, and also the independent organization out of Iran, they also bring out almost 3,800 names, which is huge. And I assume if we have such a number in blackout and without internet, it might be much more than. And I can say also it's not all about the protester. I can say there were some violent from the protester also. But Yeah, that's it. I don't know what can I add to this topic.
We've also seen sort of other people sort of capitalizing on the protests for their own interests. You've mentioned the monarchists who've been sort of with the wannabe Shah, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, sort of egging on the protesters. And then we had Israel saying that Mossad is involved, and we had Trump saying that help is coming, and we had this idea of making Iran great again. Surely that really plays into the regime's own narrative that any dissent is orchestrated from the outside. So do you think that the repression was harder because of that as well? Harsher?
No, I don't think so. I don't buy this narrative. I don't buy this narrative. I mean, of course, you had a lot in your question. So first, if you want to talk about the monarchies, about this Reza Pahlavi, this is my own opinion. This is not general. But I think he's a very weak person. And he's not, he doesn't have that charisma as well. But I'm not afraid of him as my other leftist friend afraid, because I don't think he can lead this protest to somewhere safe. I think he chosen just for this transition, not for after that. I don't think he can do anything after that, because he didn't build in last 47 years in exile anything. So in other hand, yeah, we have this message from the Western country, like Mark Pompeo come to the social media 2 days after the protest and said, yeah, we are beside you. We are walking with you around the street. And I don't believe he didn't know what is the output of such a position, you know. So also, Israel come with some very strange announcement that, yeah, or the Mossad gonna be with you and so on. And they know how this change and turn everything, in which way. But I don't believe all this fact take the responsibility from Islamic Republic to kill people. It's not going to happen like this. We have to admit people agency of this uprising. You know, this is something I really, how to say, frustrated always about the leftists, because they come to me and say, see, this has happened because of America, because of that. No, people have agency, people have knowledge, have political knowledge, because we pass many things. They have this knowledge by nature. Of course, they bombard with all the propagandas. In last 20 years, we had lots of like satellite $1 million TV who wanted to push back people to that fake nostalgia Shah area, you know. Yeah, you know, because people are hopeless, don't see anything in future, they want to put them back in that area. And when many young people who don't remember the Shah intelligence service Sawak, and they don't know what he exactly did on that country, so they buy this narration. I admit that, but it's not like that. You say, yeah, everything goes like this. No, it's not.
No, what I hear you saying, and I agree, is that we have to be able to think critically along several axes at once.
Exactly.
Not just be critical of one player or of one side, because it's not as simple as that.
Exactly, it's like that.
And so, yeah, I wasn't trying to suggest that all the fault was with, you know, external players, but it's just one element of this really
it's not
explosive
bad.
mix.
No, I know. Because in last
But,
few days, I hear a lot, especially from my leftist friend in Slovenia, So I was a little bit upset actually about that. And so it's not about your question, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you clarified that. I think it's a very important point to make, that we can be critical of US imperialism and all that, but it doesn't mean that the Islamic Republic is off the hook, or that it's great.
Of course, you can be at the same time against all the sanction. As you know me, Igor know me from the first place I came here in Slovenia. I always advocate anti-sanction. I am an anti-sanction person. I know I start my my talking about the sanction, but you can at the same time be alongside the people of Iran, believe them. And this is another problem we have in Iran. Nobody buy leftist narration because they start with, you're fool. America made you fool. US propaganda you and you buy it. So, of course, nobody, hear the second page. Nobody read the second page of this narration.
So can you tell us more about how Trump's recent threats against Iran, saying we are prepared to strike and all of that, have been perceived within Iran, and specifically by people who, like you, are critical of the Islamic Republic as well. And in light of the 12-day war in June, so we've seen that attacks are a possibility, like actual attacks. And also in light of the recent abduction of Venezuela's president by the US. So how has been this received within Iran?
I mean, unfortunately, thinking geopolitically is not our protester priority. That's a weakness. They think America come, just bombed some specific place and Islamic members and go. They don't they don't look at the Libya, they don't look at the Syria, they didn't look at, and it's somehow, I don't know, Iranian thinks they are different. I don't know why, but and in other hand, I don't think, I am not political expert, but my observations said, I don't think Trump really wants another war in the Middle East. He wants to use this card in negotiate with Islamic Republic. So I don't, but it's also always possible a war, because nobody in West also wants a great Iran, one stable Iran, and a powerful Iran. I don't believe anyone in West wants such a thing in terms of the politician, not the people. So, but this is right now, this is a very hard thing to say to Iranian. Nobody buy this, nobody. When I talk with some of my leftist friends in Iran, they told me, you are sitting such a beautiful era and every night drinking, and then say good things about the politic to us from the far away. So unfortunately, the economic situation, the whole situation, even, Islamic Republic and Iranian people already miss the historical opportunity to have a peaceful, democratic transition, And I really don't know what's going to be next, but I don't see any lightness in future.
Can we talk about how the protests have been reported in the Western media, and which narratives have prevailed in this reporting? Like I've already observed, there's a general tendency towards oversimplification and you've said it as well, on the left as well as on the non-left. Iran as part of the axis of evil, or as the axis of resistance, and so on. So yeah, how have you been observing these? How have you been looking at this reporting?
Seeing Iran news in the television and Western media for me is always a dilemma, because in somehow you like the attention. In other hand, you know it might be caused another military action of the West. So you don't really know how to react to such a things. In my opinion, they spend a lot of money to win right-wing opposition in last 20, 30 years in Western media and Iranian opposition. So they are the narrator of this uprising. So they advocate the Shah, they advocate the military involved from the Western. Many of them ask, including of this King Reza Pahlavi, you know, he asked US to come with some army solution or so on.
Yeah, I think even the Iranian Nobel Peace Prize winner Shirin Ebadi apparently called for a US intervention. Like, what is it with Nobel Peace Prize winners recently?
I don't know. Tell me.
What do you make of
her call? That's true. I mean, okay, they gave this Nobel Prize to also, they wanted to give to Trump, so we can't rely on the Nobel Prize anymore in such a situation. But yeah, I think many of them believe USA come, make everything great and back, and they don't see the consequence of such a situation. You know, if they want calm, nobody want Israel want to be the biggest army hegemony of the west of Asia. He don't want anyone else come as a big muscular Iranian. Nobody wants a great Iran again. So that's why they come with this ironic slogan, "Make Iran again great again." Yeah,
which I saw, by the way, at a recent protest in Ljubljana.
Oh my God.
So yeah, someone actually came with a sign, "Make Iran great again." I thought people were just joking about that, but no, that was serious.
Yeah, that's serious, and we have serious problem with some of them. You can't talk about the Palestine. You can't talk about the solidarity. You can't talk about anything. The main narration is any leftist, any nationalist, anyone who don't think like us is with enemy and with Islamic Republic. Nowadays like that.
Yeah. I think it's worth telling our audience that we compared the notes on different invitations to this protest that was held on Saturday. And in Persian, it was obvious that it was, a pro-Shah protest. And they said that only monarchist flags and slogans would be allowed. And the Slovenian invitation talked about the liberation of Palestine and all that, and we're all Palestinians and we're all Iranians. And it was the same protest. And the English version was sort of somewhere in between. It was more neutral than the Slovenian one, but it didn't give a hint that it was a sort of royalist organized protest. So that was super interesting to observe as well, which leads me to the next question. As Europeans who don't have direct access to media in Persian and who don't have a direct access to knowledge about different actors, which media or which journalists perhaps we can follow to get reasonably reliable news and analysis about Iran?
That's a hard question.
Sorry about
This
that.
barely can find. But yeah, actually, I don't have anything in my mind right now, but I can prepare a list and give you to publish in the caption or something of this video or so on. So, but there is some people who want to be, I mean, fair at least, you know, not only goes with one of these sides. So we know many of them, but they are working different journal. Like, I don't know, we have some people, even in Washington Post, we have some people, they write fairly about Iran. So yeah, I can prepare some list.
Yeah, it would be
for
great
sure,
to have a
yeah.
list of resources. And also speaking of media and the flow of information, I have been wondering about this, about Iranians having to resort to Elon Musk's Starlink, of all things, Elon Musk's Starlink, to bypass the blackout. I mean, how ironic and ambivalent is that?
Yeah. So it starts from 2021. So first, I have to say something might be interesting for you, because all the limitation we have in Iran after the revolution, we can't drink freely. You know, alcohol is not free. I don't know, party is not free. Of course, drug is not free. So we have many sort of way to access to things are not allowed. So the people who distribute whiskey before now distribute Starlink dish, and people have easily access. But of course, many media ask me about the Starlink, but it's not a general solution for accessing the internet. Even in Slovenia, I don't think there will be many people who can pay 300 euros per month for accessing the internet. But yes, in last few years, especially last 2 years, we knew about something like, I can admit 30,000. 30,000 receiver and dish of Starlink in Iran, which now during this protest, Islamic Republic tried to jamming these signals by, I don't know, some military electric war car, and they had some success to reduce 40% the packet loss. But still, this is a very stable way to connect to the internet. And in other hand, yeah, this is Elon Musk. You know, he wants to show up and say, I am with the protesters. So he make the monthly payments free for Iranians. So first of all, you have to have this receiver and dish, which is in Iran, they sell for 3,000 euros. So yeah, this is.
I suppose smuggling is expensive.
Yeah, of course, it is. So yeah, that's about the Starlink.
And so what would you like to see from us in Europe? How can we help, or at least how can we avoid being actively unhelpful?
So first of all, about what I want from Slovenian leftists, to be more serious, because I am too old and too fat and too tired to participate in another cycling protest for more than 100 weeks. So
Yeah.
please be serious. Don't let this guy be prime minister again. And about the Iran, I can say, yeah, solidarity. This is the only thing. We don't want savior. We don't want someone come to Facebook say, people of Iran, you don't know what US want to do with you. You don't know about the Balkanized one country. Yeah, we know every shit. We just want solidarity. And you lefties, I don't talk about Europe. I'm nobody to talk with people of Europe or something. But from Slovenia, this small country, and people I see every few weeks here, I just want to be beside the Iranian people. Because, you can't say a regime who killed also 20 years ago, 30 years ago, thousands of leftists, you can't say they are anti-Am. They did that with green light of the West. How you can say? And now we have like this, how to say, this economic oligarchs who run country with the most harsh neoliberalism you ever seen in your life. And I see some leftist people say, yeah, they are anti-app. No, they are not. They run everything step by step of this global bank. I don't know, what is this? IMF, yeah, IMF order, everything. The cost of living in Tehran now is almost comparable to Slovenia. I mean, something like telechie plache is even here is more cheaper than Iran. So when I talk with my father, he was teacher, and I really, it's always make me so upset when he started talking with me. Everyone, that time we had like internet and communication calls. He started with the list, all the time. Yeah, eggs became €1. Meat became like this. He had a list, and every time he repeat that list because this is too much to take, So yeah, that's all.
I have a recent example. There is an Amnesty International petition in Slovenian as well, and I think the flyers should be somewhere in Pretlice, at the entrance, I think. So you're invited to have a look afterwards. And it's a petition to end protest massacres in Iran and to confront the systematic impunity of the regime, including referring Iran to the International Criminal Court. So as an example, how helpful do you find this sort of initiatives?
Yes, zero. But yeah, but those acts are symbolic. So yeah, we always sign, but I don't think it's really going to do something, especially in the world. Believe less than 1 year ago, we have the whole world observed killing 70,000 of people without saying anything. So this.
Well, even arming the perpetrator, not just not saying anything.
This make other authoritarian regime more harsh because they see nobody act. No, they have many excuses to say that.
I was going to ask how helpful it would be to the civil society in Iran to end the sanctions, but I think you already answered that. This is what we should advocate for, I suppose.
Of course.
Before we open the floor to audience questions, I just have a couple of things to say. First, there was a safety announcement in case there were any Iranians in the audience. I don't think there are, but anyway, we won't record your face. And obviously you don't have to give your name or it can be edited out. So, yeah. Second, please wait for the microphone. We don't have that many people, so I don't expect there'll be many battles for the microphone, but yeah, please wait for it. And third, unless you're Iranian, in order to keep our focus on Iranian perspectives, please focus on asking our guest a question rather than sharing your own views. Now, while the audience are thinking about their questions, I have one more. Imagine that all sanctions are lifted and the US does not attack. what might Iran look like in 10 years' time? Maybe your poet's hat on this time.
No, I have no idea actually, but I don't see any lightness, because if this situation goes like this, I am sure there will be more repression, there will be more arresting, and many people going to be immigrants from Iran, and also, I see something like to being like Russia or any country, run by this economic oligarch. So, yeah.
How different would it be if Reza Pahlavi were to be installed as Shah?
Not that much different, actually. I mean, even Islamic Republic is tired to call itself Islamic Republic. They want to be out of this responsibility and do whatever in economy, they have benefit for them, not ideologically. So that's why I said I see this Reza Pahlavi only leading this transition to another step, not to another situation,
Hi, thank you for this evening. So we talked a little bit about how this support from different sides to the demonstration has been weaponized against the protesters, and how a lot of people, particularly on the left side of political spectrum, have been hesitant to give their support. So how can we, in our everyday conversations, advocate for right of Iranian people for their self-determination, and what arguments can we use in these conversations?
It's a very good question. I think you can address that. First of all, right now, you can define Iranian regime as a unified. You can say this is Iranian regime, because there were actors who close to Russia, there will be actors close to China, and some actors close to West. They want this transition. They advocate this transition because they don't want to be Islamic Republic anymore. So you can talk about such a things. There is no specific Islamic Republic. And then, most important, you can say there is no anti-AMP Islamic Republic. It's just a pose. It's not the real things. Because, in my opinion, being anti-AMP is first start with the economy. And such a thing's not happen right now in Iran. We had, we can say, socialist economy before 30 years ago, but not anymore. Everything privatized, like, as the way we say, crony privatization. So, all the flow come and divide things between each other and so on. So, you can talk about such a things. So people really tired about this situation. And this is not the first time. We had this like hamster wheel uprising in last 12 years, And you can find many progressive slogan as well in some of those. So, you can talk about not unify the government and also not unify the protester. So you can show your solidarity to the protester as well.
Any more questions?
And I wonder how strong is Iranian immigration in Europe and elsewhere in the world is perhaps any change, is there any possibility of change from your group of people? I mean, if, for example, Reza Pahlavi comes and forms a transition government, is there any strong opposition or democratic movement forming outside of Iran to help the transition go faster and better?
Very good question, Igor. I think there is organized movement out of Iran, but apparently the monarchists don't let us to participate. So although there is some organized group, I know, first group came out from Iran was monarchist many years ago, but they are like, how to say, they are businessmen people. They start some small business in California and America and so on. So the second wave was the leftist immigrant, which in last 2 years in Italy, when I went to Italy, I see they are so organized everywhere. Iranian leftist diaspora, they are so organized, but nobody left them to participate in such a situation. Also, the third wave was in 2009, which I observed many Democrat, liberal, and young people came out. They want, they are Republican, not in American way. I mean, they want republic, they want democracy. But these days, they don't let any of this group to take action, to take a part of this transition. So I think this is a part of the plan. So he come because he's weak. So they can play with him in any direction they want. There is only two things matter after this hypothetically transition. Nobody killed inside the government, so there is no execution. You need some figure like Reza Pahlavi to come, listen guys, this is enough, no violence anymore, we have to finish it right now. So then the oligarchs can have the transition to the new era. And then the second important is there will be no room for leftist or other narration. I think Reza Pahlavi can do both things after such a transition for other groups, for, let's say, Western groups. Did I answer your question?
Yes. What about, are there any strong political leaders in prison now in Iran?
Okay, although we believe, or the uprising leaders are in Iran, I can say a specific name. Yeah, we have Narges Mohammadi. She also got the Nobel Prize a few years ago. We have some other names, but also they propaganda this monarchist. They propaganda against these names in last few years a lot. So they said a lot of dirty stuff, lots of I don't know, labelize them, So that's why this time I see, this is the first time I see almost all the people stand behind one name, this Reza Pahlavi. Although they don't know why and how it's come, but I can see it because they believe if they gave an alternative to West, they believe this change gonna be happen. But as I start my conversation with that, there is no institutional change, It's only desire. As someone said, revolution is not a vibe. You have to prepare some institute for that. You can't just come and make empty everything and you don't have any plan to fill it. They have some plan. These monarchies, they have some plan, but if you read it, you're gonna afraid more than Islamic Republic, you know. So yeah, there is some people. I believe when the wave is start, they will find their own leadership. Either it's gonna be one person or a group of people.
I think we can take perhaps one more question. Or is there anything else that you would like to add? Maybe we forgot to address something that's really important to you.
No, thank you so much. That's all I could say about the situation.
So-
Sorry, I am not really cheered up because all the news and so on. So
Well, it's not a cheerful time. Still,
Yeah, of course.
a big thank you, Pooyesh Azizeddin, and thank you all for your attention and for your questions. We'll leave it here for today. Thank you.
thank you so much.